Okay, so I showed you these two things: so cash received from customers, cash paid to suppliers. Now let's do cash paid to employees. So cash paid to employees, I mean, look at how they calculated it, how difficult over here. They did all these things over here, all these ledgers, all this. I mean, look here. I mean, just look at it. It's so complicated, right? But me, Skill Spark invented a formula. So my formula, let's go to my formula, is these four simple things. These four simple things will do everything for you, literally. It's the formula, right? So now to calculate cash paid to employees, although the name says cash paid to employees, it's basically not to employees, like literally. It's just changing the operating expense in the income statement to cash paid. The operating expense to income statement follows the accrual concept, right? So they might say over here 86,000, but it doesn't mean cash went out is 86,000. It does not mean that. So you're converting to an accrual basis to a cash basis. So we have to change this figure here, the operating expense, to make it in terms of how much cash went out from the business. Also, just to know, when doing the cash flow statement, in case you forget, obviously if you pay cash paid to suppliers, you put brackets, right? Reason why cash received no brackets is because cash coming in. So when cash going out, you put brackets, right? So in your final figure you get, you have to put it in brackets in the financial statement. Cash flow statement. Okay, so let's do this, right? So how do you calculate cash paid to employees? Very simple. First thing, you're going to go to your income statement and get your operating expense, right? Once you get your operating expense, you write it down. You can do it like this way, going down vertical as subtract, but I'm going to do it horizontal because I feel like that's faster and in your exam it's better. So 86,000. This is your operating expense, but it's not how much you paid out in cash. So we have to convert this. This is where my formula comes in. So how do I understand my formula? Very easy formula actually. Whenever, now you know how you get your figures at the beginning of the year, then you get figures at the end of the year. If like the figures from the beginning to the end increased, right, you will do these. So for example, let's do the first one, right? Stationery, right? Now these four things memorize. Some of them might be there, some of them not. For example, they can only give you depreciation in year for cash paid to employees, so you just do that. But I'm doing all, so you know if the other ones come out. So okay, first let's do depreciation. Depreciation is very simple. In your income statement, right, or wherever, sometimes they give you additional information. They'll say depreciation is 26,000. So if they just tell you depreciation is 26,000, when you're working out your cash bill to employees, you just say minus, because I got minus over here, check here, minus 26,000. Now let's see over here. Okay, let's do stationery. So stationery on hand, it's very simple, right? So it obviously increased, right? Increased by what, you might ask? Increased by 2,000. So stationery increased, so obviously my formula when increased is, now if it was decreased, it'll be like opposite of what I'm saying, right? But it increased, which most likely it will always be that all these things here, because it makes more sense. So the difference increased by 2,000. So let's go to stationery. So it means I must say plus the difference. So plus 2,000, literally. That's what I'm saying. It's so easy, my method. Now let's go to the next one. Accrued electricity. It increased by 2,500. Did it? 2,000. Yeah, 2,500 increased. So accrued expense, you will minus the difference. So minus 2,500. Can you see how it's, look at this, man. And then let's see, do we have, let's say, prepaid or something else? A stationery, accrued. Okay, so we only have 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's done. If we had like example, like prepaid, for example, if it increased, we'll say plus the figure. But we don't have prepaid over here, so we just leave it out. So now we calculate this figure, and let's see if we come to the same answer they did this complicated way. So 86,000 minus 2,600. No, is it 2,600? Sorry, 26,000. 26,000 plus 2,000 minus 2,500. That gives me 59,500. 59,500 is cash paid to employees, and it matches with that. So you just say plus that, and you get your final figure. Put it in brackets. Remember, cash paid to suppliers, which we did previously, is added to this figure because we're doing employees and suppliers separate, and you get the final figure. So you see how easy my method is. Instead of doing this method, it makes sense. The same thing. Like I saw over here, cash less stationery, all these balances they did. For example, when you add this, it'll come to 2000. 2000, huh? But instead of doing opening, closing, all that, remembering what to plus or minus, you just work out the difference and use my formulas. Yeah, you find, because this and this is 2000, so it's the same thing. So yeah, that's how you do cash pay to employees. So um yeah, so I already told you all this, how to know what components to deal with, and just knowing this, you're sorted for direct method.